what's up guys, it's Matsu here. Little PSA before the video starts, just want to let you know. These are my initial takes and they're definitely subject to change. I could be wrong. Anyways, hope you enjoy the video. Have a nice day. What is up everybody, it's your boy Matsu here. Been a while, trying to get back into the swing of things, and I figured what better way to start than with a set 3 tier list. So this is going to be just kind of my opinion on where characters are going to land after this new set releases. Just kind of with my own small amount of testing experience and just how they read on their face and with the new support they got, because everyone got a little bit of something in set 3. So, without further ado, let's get into it. All Might 2. I think this guy is going to be a pretty easy A tier. He got the benefit of Twisting Azure Inferno and the Dobby 5 diff that mills 3 to add a momentum, which is very good. That obviously fuels his draw, and it's a 5 diff 5 for 5, so the Fire Fury All Might deck looking very sweet. Obviously playable under his other symbols as well. He's just kind of generic. All Might 3, this guy just got better. He got one with nature, and he can play a lot of just like generic good stuff. There was a lot of good defense printed in this set for the good symbols, so it's looking great. This guy, still not great. Kind of a meme character, probably always will be until the end of time. We really need a payoff for checking a 6 that isn't just, hey, I checked a 6 on an attack and I have to play all these bricks in my deck to do that. Smashbite. I'm going to put Smashbite in the middle here. I don't think he's going to be absurd, but I also don't think he's going to be bad either. I think he's just going to be like your very hyper-typical locals deck. He is pretty generic. He just puts speed or damage on things. And he gets to draw cards, so it's always pretty good. This character is not playable yet, so we're not going to rate him. This character, I think, is easily up in A as well. The addition of 1 with nature means he doesn't really die to plus ultra anymore the way he used to, so you can always Detroit Smash people and hit them for twice their health bar. And they can't really do much about it because it's too hard to block. Yeah, just under the Earth symbol, you get Snack Time, you get British Swagger, you get 1 with Nature, Back Alley Haymaker, a 0 diff that pumps speed now when you're at below half. Just all very good things. Aoyama 2, D tier. This character is not particularly amazing. He doesn't do anything that great, and his payoff for getting momentum right now under those symbols is not very high. So, thusly, in D tier. Aoyama 1. I think he's fine. I don't think he's particularly great. He's kind of where he was before, but obviously he doesn't get to play lashing anymore, which is really rough. We didn't really get any other ways to find our tight-lipped, or rather build it directly into play in this set, so he's just going to stay in C until that happens. Asui 2. I'm actually going to say this character is in C tier. She did get a lot of interesting stuff in this set. I think she's going to be a pretty fun locals deck that can do something, especially considering we have the Minetta card that clears a card from your card pool after a card is cleared from your opponent's card pool, which just kind of makes you into a worse version of this character, which, speaking of this character, actually, I'm going to make a new tier. Let's see. How do I make a new tier? Add a row above. This one is going to be top of the meta, maybe broken. So these are going to be the characters that I think, if we were to go after, if we were to have a witch hunt which, you know, we always will. It's just card game communities in general. This is where those characters will go. So Asui, she gets Dry Eyes, which is just basically floating around my babies because discarding a card is not a real cost for the most part when you have enough draw for it, which the water symbol definitely did gain enough draw for it, between Frigid Heatwave and Exhausted Exclamation, and Freezer Burn, readying Exhausted Exclamation over and over again because that's cool, because Sludge and Freezer Burn don't have the magic words on them for some reason. So yeah, she's just gonna be there. Backdraft, you know, I could see Backdraft being somewhat playable. Like I said, being able to discard cards from your opponent's card pool, give a bunch of stats, and then use the Minetta card to kick a card out of your card pool is pretty cool. He synergizes very well with Tongue Whip, and his own card is a free card pool stuff that also commits your opponent if they don't block it. And then it's also something to be said that he has Rescue completed on his face, which is a pretty good ability. Giving all of your foundations the ability to tap for -2 speed is pretty cool. Bakugo Two, I think he is a pretty easy C tier. His defense didn't particularly get any better in this set. He did get a few more ways to flip his opponent's foundations. Seizing Victory, or whatever that card is called, is pretty good in him. Other than that, not fantastic. Bakugo 1, I'm gonna put in A tier. This guy is pretty alright. He got Stun Grenade, which is an extremely strong card for him. The Casino High Roll deck is probably playable to an extent, but that kind of remains to be seen. Cementos, I'm gonna say this guy is an A. He got a lot of really strong support under the Earth symbol and under the Void symbol in this set. Male Bonding is an extremely powerful card in this character. So I expect we see a lot of this guy moving into the future. Dobby, I'm gonna put Dobby in C. He did get Twisting Azure, which is a very strong card in him, very easy to proc, but other than that, he didn't exactly get that much from this. But this is kind of a character I haven't really touched, so this one I'm just kind of conjecturing. Death Arms is going to be a pretty easy A. There are a lot of interesting 5 difficulty lineups that you can run that are actually 4 difficulty lineups. So like Command Pigeon Flock is a 5 diff, but it builds you an ally foundation, so it's kind of a 4 diff. And being able to tap your opponent's 2 best foundations when they're going in is especially good against not only the control decks, but the aggro decks. It's really hard for an aggro deck to kill you if you tap their 2 best foundations. Deku 2. I'm actually going to say this guy's an A. He got a lot of really good support in this set between Tetsu Thrashing and Seizing and just more cards to draw cards. Snack Time is really good in him. Yeah, I think this character is going to be very playable moving on into the future. Also, One with Nature is insane with him. I'm not going to keep bringing up One with Nature. Just assume that any character that has its symbols is going to be playing it, because it is that kind of a card. Deku 1 is C tier. So this character still dies to anyone playing a real defense that knows what your gimmick does. And even with One with Nature, I don't think that's going to change. So we're just this guy gonna chill there. And then Denki 2. I actually think Denki 2 is very playable after this set, especially under the Chaos symbol. We have the Sludge attack that gains stun 2 and readies the foundation. We have the other Sludge attack, the 2-check, that says discard any number of momentum, or discard all of your momentum to burn your opponent 1 for each momentum you discard, which can be a very good finisher when you're gaining a momentum every single turn for free. And then obviously you can just still kill them with a Blitz Rush. Denki 1, Extra Turn Man, is going to be right next to his future self. He did get a few things in this set. Like I was saying, under the Chaos symbol, we did get Sludge. Sludge is very cool. Under Order, you also got a few things. So yeah, this character's pretty good. Ectoplasm, we did get Clones in this set, so I'm going to have to say B. I think Clones is a powerful card when you can tutor multiple copies of it. And obviously it has his face on it, so it's probably pretty good in him. Endeavor, this character is kind of hard to rate because of what his abilities do. He's pretty generic, but he does have to cut himself for costs. So I'm going to put him in B, mainly because I don't have enough information about him. He puts stats on stuff. His kit's pretty cool. I like the starter deck. I'm going to put Other Endeavor slightly below New Endeavor. I think his abilities are a little worse, and he still doesn't put speed on things. Or rather, he doesn't put speed on things asterisk. If he's below half health, or he draws a card for the turn, he does start putting speed on things through Quick to Act and Talented Baker. Eraser 2. I'm going to say Eraser... You know, I'm actually going to do both of them. I think Eraser 2 and Eraser 1 are very similar. They're extremely powerful control characters. Being able to remove any ability from an attack is an extremely strong thing to be able to do. And having scaling speed plus card draw is always something you want to see in your control deck. And then both of these characters do that. Obviously, having access to a card that says your opponent's character is blank is always going to be good in a game that is oriented around building your deck for your character. Fourth kind. I think fourth kind is mids. Character is still good. However, his symbols didn't necessarily get that much in the way of like the packages that he was wanting to run. So, like, there are a few order cards that he might be interested in, but they don't necessarily do enough to push him back to where he was, you know, kind of like 2 months ago or whatever. However, I will say I am looking forward to a Recipro Acceleration Kick deck with him because now we have the ability to do so. We have enough kicks. Gran Torino. I think this character is mega fucked up. We have a lot of discard effects after this new set, and a bunch of them are Fury attacks. So, for example, Villainous Waylay is a Fury attack under the Void symbol. So, we make them discard whatever block we don't want them to block with, and then if they block, we get to build it back down and pick it back up to make them discard even more cards. You're basically just not allowed to have a hand against this character, and it's kind of neat. Gunhead... Gunhead's not very good. His gimmick is extremely weak. We didn't give it enough throw support in this set. And, yeah, if I'm going to play this character, I would rather be playing any other character under those symbols. Hagakare. I think this character is extremely strong. Her ultra rare is a Breaker 2 attack that also resets foundations. It gives you Precious Lesson procs because it removes the foundation from the game. And just, she has a lot of very good utility. The good punch package gets to put a lot of speed that's not interactable on punches, in addition to One with Nature. And then being able to bounce your opponent's attack back to their hand and force them to replay it, while also knowing what the top card of their deck is quite good. Hagakare is going to be just fine. Hagakare 1 is pretty alright. She did get Cheerleader, which is really good. Being able to flash an attack or even build an extra foundation is pretty good, because one of the problems the character can have is that she doesn't get to build up fast enough to help scale against their opponents. Mei, I'm going to say Mei is mid as well. She did get a few assets in this set. One of the best assets in this set is actually under the evil symbol. So there is a potential we do see evil Mei Hatsume come out, but I don't think it's very high. Ida 2. So this one's kind of hard to rate because I actually think Ida 2 is like a very playable character. The ability to have access to plus ultra and the ability to put speed on something at a response speed is extremely strong. We still get access to Electric Jolt, and we also get the... there's a bunch of support for the various Idas as well. I'm going to have to say Ida 3 is in C tier. His gimmick is just kind of whatever. We don't particularly have any amazing ready targets for him. And even with, it's not aiming for a number 1, the All Might 3-diff action, I think that's just cheeky and not actually that amazing. This Ida, I think, is going to be kind of in the same tier. He's definitely playable, but he's not going to be cracking the meta. He's probably not going to be topping any major events anytime soon. Ingenium, I actually think that this character is very good. Combined with Cannon Blast and having the ability to put 3 damage on something is extremely relevant in comparison to what the other 2 characters are doing. Unfortunately, he does not get plus ultra, but that's fine because putting 3/3 on something once per turn is good enough, especially when it readies your foundations. I don't know why Deku 2 is on here twice. Jiro, I'm going to say Jiro is somewhere between here, but I'm going to put her in A. The Staff Strike deck did get quite a bit of support in the All Might 2/5 that says when you check it to play an attack, it gets +2 speed or +2 damage, and you can enhance to add it to your card pool to draw a card. It makes for a lot of really interesting Staff Strike setups that you wouldn't think of, and the fact that you are also able to basically selectively tutor a card off the top 2 cards of your deck using Jiro's Enhance combined with that is very good. Kamui Woods. I think Kamui Woods is very good. I think he's somewhere in here. And these are in no particular order, by the way. He just has very good defense, good scaling offense. He got more support in the form of the Shiozaki card that shoves... the Shiozaki attack that shoves a low attack into your momentum, which just fuels kind of the same thing that we have been seeing from the Water Kamuis. You know, for example, Keenan Meadows' list, playing the Giant Ice Walls. Kirishima 2, top of the meta. My boy finally has a way to put speed on things. Between Quick 2-Act and Talented Baker and One with Nature, we now get to make a lot of our attacks unblockable. We also have Brutish Swagger in combination with Back Alley Haymaker to stun our opponent out before they really even get the chance to play. Kirishima 1. I think this is a pretty playable B-tier character. He does get quite a bit in this set. Having the ability to Talented Baker plus Quick to Act, just kind of the same stuff that Kirishima 2 is doing, but a lot worse. So, playable locals deck, in my opinion. Coda, this one is a really hard character to rate. The ally package is quite good. There are a lot of ways that you can go about this. You can play Indiscriminate Shock. You can do cool Staff Strike stuff under Life if you really wanted to. Other than that, though, he just draws a lot of cards, and his gimmick is interesting. So I'm going to put him in A, because drawing cards is good. Kurogiri, I'm going to put Kurogiri in B. He's playable. We did get a little bit of throw hate, so he doesn't just die to 0 gravity lift anymore, because under the order symbol you get to play the Shoto attack that says when you block a high attack with this card it deals no damage, and that is quite good. So just kind of a good defensive character. I'm I'm going to put Midnight in A. She got a lot of support in this set. Her Ultra Rare is absolutely bananas. And, yeah. Easily Excited is also a very strong card. So, all in all, she got a lot. We'll go Minetta, D tier. Until her gimmick gets a lot of support, she will never be good, unfortunately. Mina 1. She is just playable. The Chaos Symbol got quite a bit of support in this set, and I'm sure there are other things that I have not thought about under Life and Underwater, so we'll go Minetta. I think my boy is somewhere between S and A. Minetta, or Momo, Minetta's absolutely worst matchup, almost 90% loss for Minetta, is in the meta still, unfortunately, but he does have Giant Explosion now, which is one way for you to deal with an opposing Momo. Being able to pop 3 of their foundations basically punishes them super hard, tells them that they don't get to have a weapon in their staging area, so you do actually get to debuild them, and it's pretty sick. At least under the death symbol. Underwater, he's just kind of generic throw stuff still. Not much has changed there. Minetta 1. Man, I have a hard time placing this guy in C or D. I think he's a C tier character. He did get a little bit of support in this set. The Backdraft card that says if it deals damage, your opponent commits a bunch of foundations is pretty good in him. Other than that, though, not really that much of a difference. Momo 2. Man, it's hard to say, but she's like she's a locals deck. Like, she gets to build a foundation. She's pretty good with Ready, Get, Set, Go. Assets are pretty strong right now, especially after this set, and being able to build them from your hand as a form is pretty good. Momo, still going to be S tier. Until they stop printing assets or cards with the weapon keyword on them, she will not be bad ever. So that's cool. Just her ability to tutor and attack and always have them, combined with stuff like Piercing Needle, which will always deal bonus damage when you deal damage with an attack, is quite good. Manoma. So Manoma, I think, is a playable character. As more characters come out and the meta shifts, he will get better or worse depending, so it's kind of hard to rate this guy. Mount Lady. Think she's a cool locals deck. She might have some more legs after this set. Reciproburst setups are extremely easy in her. You also have the charged lineup to put the face-up moves into your momentum, which is neat. Nezu, I actually think this guy is very playable, but he is the kind of character that you would have to take 100 iterations of a deck to make him good, and I don't think the average player is going to be doing that. Nomu, I'm going to put Nomu in B. He got some good cards in Hulking Grimace and the Shigaraki Foundation that says if your mid or fury attack is blocked, they destroy a foundation. But other than that, there's no reason why I would be playing this character when I could just play Ochako 2 and do the same thing but better. Speaking of Ochako 2, this deck is really messed up. This deck is like actually the most unfun deck to play against after this set releases, because it really feels like when you're playing against this character, they either draw 2 attacks every turn and murder you, or they draw 0 attacks because they're a 5-hander with no real draw, and you just kill them for free, and no one has fun in either situation, so, you know. Ochako 3. This character is a playable locals deck. She has some pretty cool setups with all of the new Chaos stuff, setting up momentum. Pigeon Flock and Friend of Animals is sweet in her, but other than that, she does not particularly do much. Ochako 1, A-tier character. Every time we get charge or high attacks, this character will get better or worse depending on what they do, and her setups have not really changed. I don't necessarily know if she's going to be topping events, but we'll see. Ogiro Two. This character is extremely strong. The ability to put 3/3 on all of your attacks after the first one, and sometimes during the first one, depending on how many Student of the Arts you have, is very good. In addition to the effect of picking up an attack from your card pool, letting you get a lot of value out of cards that have goaded enhances. For example, Tongue Whip is a very good card to replay over and over again. So I'm going to put him in S tier. Ojiro 1. I actually think he is a very playable local character and could top an event, depending. He got a lot of good support in this set. So, between Ojiro 2's kit and some stuff from his own. The mics. They're both going down here. They're not great. They didn't really get that much in this set aside from generic chaos support. So I don't see them doing anything. Recovery Girl, S tier. She is borderline top of the meta, I think. This character, in the hands of a very skilled player that puts a lot of reps into her, will be almost unbeatable, and that's about all I have to say about that one. Man, I'm gonna have to put Sato 2 in D tier. Unfortunately, he doesn't really have that many ways to draw. He's extremely reliant on Talented Baker to make his form not completely detrimental to himself. Because imagine having to be a 7-hander, but you actually have to discard 2 cards at the end of your turn. Man, there was an 8-hander in Standard that has to discard during their turn. If he was an 8-hander, it would make sense. Like, if he was a 6/29 that did have this same form, I'd be okay with it. But Sato 1, very good character after this set. Sato 2's kit is much better in Sato 1 than it is in Sato 2. Talented Baker is extremely strong. So is Snack Time in this character. Being able to stun your opponent out basically before they even know what's happening is quite good. Selkie, still kind of mediocre. He lacks the damage to actually compete. But he did get some kick support, so we'll have to see how that shapes up. Sero 2, pretty good in my opinion. He got the Minetta card that says flip after you discard a card from your opponent's card pool, you get to discard a card from your own card pool. So that's pretty strong in him, and you know, just doing that after you draw a card off of kicking a card from your opponent's card pool is sweet. Sero 1, also A tier. Punishing your opponent for partially blocking your attack by drawing 2 will always be a strong ability, and the ability to Thought Seize your opponent and discard, combined with Villainous Waylay, looking at your opponent's hand if they do not have the block zone that you named, is very strong in Sero, because it means that you just make your attack that block zone for the rest of the turn, and they have to off-block everything and let you draw 2 cards every time they want to block, or just eat infinite damage. Shigaraki 2, I'm gonna have to say he's an A tier. He has a lot of Fury lineups that give him a bunch of momentum to work with. So I could very easily see this character stringing 5, 6, 7 attacks in a turn due to the fact that he can discard to get momentum with Nitro Explosion and Ignition alongside other Fury attacks, your Howitzer, Impact Cyclone, stuff like that. Shigaraki 1, I'm going to put him in A tier. I think he is playable at a high level if you have the time to put into him and make his deck good, but I don't think this character is very new player friendly, and he kind of struggles against the aggressive decks that aren't attacking mid because of the fact that you have to completely block, and most of your good complete blocks that punish your opponent super hard for attacking you are indeed mids. Shinzo, he's kind of whatever. Form to put 2 speed on a specific zone is extremely telegraphed, and it always will be. Also, making your opponent randomly play a card or discard it is hardly ever a detriment to them. At worst, they discard it. At best, they're playing a card they were going to play anyways, so... Shiozaki, I think, is actually really good after her new support card, the 5 diff that shoves a low attack into your momentum. And it also says that they have to, I believe, flip a foundation to block low, which is pretty cool. I like that in coordination with Alleyway Ambush, you know, kind of like Brandon Smith's deck that we saw at the last, most recent Provisional, which is a very cool deck. Shoji, I'm going to put in B just because this character is extremely hard to rate. His abilities are very meta-dependent. They will be either good or bad based on what is running around. Obviously, he's very good into aggro characters because free -2 speed is free -2 speed. And the ability to have a wall cling on your face is also very good against aggro. So, but in a control meta, he will get pretty heavily outscaled, in my opinion, by characters like Momo and Recovery Girl. Even stuff like Hagakare. Shoji 1. I'm going to put Shoji 1 in the same kind of tier. Shoji 1 isn't necessarily bad. He has the ability to tutor from his discard for a health cost, which is pretty good considering the amount of health gain that we have in this set. Snipe. Snipe's new card is very good. He was already kind of playable. And the ability to ready a foundation during your opponent's ready phase is very strong. Stain 2. I think Stain 2 is very playable. He is a pseudo 8 hand size character that freezes a foundation, so he has board control and draws a card. So, or rather, and pump speed, because he's an 8-hander because he draws a card. Stain 1. I think Stain 1 is a cool locals deck. His -3 to check is very easy to play around if you can ever even get it off in the first place. And the +1 speed, burn 1, is not exactly amazing, even as a spammable enhance. Go Tetsu. I'm going to put Tetsu in B. He did get a lot of support in this set. Male bonding is very good in him. We have enhance flip, both players draw a card. Tetsu thrashing is very good. And one with nature is also very good in this character. 13. I think 13 is going to be a pretty generic control character. She is a 7/22, which is a lot of life for a 7-hander with the defensive/offensive ability to cancel a speed interaction that's not a character effect. Todoroki 2. I think this character is very good. Twisting Azure Inferno is extremely strong in him, and he has a lot of really cool setups under the fire symbol and the water symbol as well. Order did get some generic support that would help him out in addition to that. I think Shoto 1 is a playable character. Twisting Azure Inferno is yet again very good in him. It offsets the commit a foundation for plus damage cost because it gives +1 to your checks to play attacks for the rest of the turn, which means that maybe he gets to go in a little bit faster, and he can do that under chaos and under fire. Toga. Toga is pretty generically good life character. She filters cards, and Piercing Needle is extremely strong. We will see a bit of the Gamer Toga deck that exists right now, I imagine, in set 3. Tokoyami 2, I think is actually pretty playable after all of the new ally support that we have gotten in this set. He now has the ability to ready a Surveyor, and a card that says when it's committed during an attack, you get +2 speed. So, some pretty cool indiscriminate shock setups, and I'll be interested to see where this character goes. Tokoyami 1, top of the meta. Twisting Azure Inferno is extremely broken in this character. And he just kind of gets to do generic aggro stuff, except now better because his checks have +1, your checks have -1. Have fun. So he just puts a billion damage on things, and instead of getting to block 2 or 3 of his attacks, you now get to block maybe 1 of his attacks if you're lucky. Uwabami. I think Uwabami is very playable after this set. The new Kendo Punch is extremely strong in her, and I can see some very interesting setups involving that. And without further ado, that has been my MHA Set 3 Heroes Clash tier list. Like, comment, share, subscribe. If you agreed, if you disagreed, let me know in the comment section below, and let me know why. I would love to see your comments and takes on my tier list, and let me know why I can do better in the future. Sayonara. Hey yo, it's your boy Monsu. Call me Go Beyond because I'll always guide you. Call me Cam because I card well. Call me Jacob, but there ain't no John, son. Call me Mister because you know I alliterate. Me and the boys, you know we keep it fun. So like, comment, share, subscribe because this rhyme is done.